Every wedding anniversary, Dorian flew home a scholarship co-ed he sponsored. When he walked in with the fifth girl draped on his arm, ready to spend the night, I asked for a divorce. He sneered. I paid her tuition. What's the big deal if I sleep with her? You throw the same tantrum every year and come crawling back in 3 days? Pathetic. Get a grip, Serena. Go run Stacy's bath and I might forgive you. I said nothing. I simply handed him the divorce papers. He had no clue that the varsity swimmer I funded was already waiting for me, with 3 of his teammates, at the hot spring resort. I opened the door, saw the girl in Dorian's arms and the crowd of his buddies behind him, and felt absolutely nothing. For 5 years he brought a girl home on our anniversary, to humiliate me properly. He always invited his friends to watch. I stepped aside so they could enter. The girl in white dress and sneakers tugged Dorian's sleeve. Caldwell, your wife didn't welcome me. Is she angry? Her voice trembled, but glee flashed in her eyes. Dorian shot me an icy glance, then turned to her with instant tenderness. Whether she's angry or not, who cares? Someone snickered. All those eyes danced over me, loving every second of my embarrassment. The little darling played sensible and reached for my hand. Caldwell. I really love Caldwell, but I never meant to break up your marriage. If you hate me, I'll leave right now. I jerked away, disgusted. She froze. To punish me, Dorian yanked her close and kissed her glossy lips. She pretended to push him once, then looped her arms around his waist. Cheers erupted as they sucked face forever. I almost yawned before they finally came up for air. Her cheeks flushed, her breath ragged. Dorian stayed cool. This is Stacy, one of my scholarship girls. I gave a flat okay when I didn't flare up like before. He stared oddly. His buddies chimed in one after another. Sis-in-law's getting smarter. Teach us how to train a wife. Bro. Dorian couldn't hide his smugness. He peeled off his jacket and thrust it at me. Stacy and I are taking the master bedroom. Go change the sheets. She's a clean freak. Your old bedding grosses her out. I didn't take the jacket. I smiled. You're something I slept with for years. Why isn't she grossed out by you? In all our married years, I'd never spoken to him like that. He blinked, stunned, then flung the coat to the floor. His voice cut like a blade. Serena, have you lost your mind? I looked at him for a long beat. Maybe I have. Dorian, we're done. Every anniversary for 5 years he'd paraded in a new sponsored girl. I'd cried, screamed, begged on my knees, even slit my wrist. But the word divorce had never left my mouth. I was terrified that once I said it, he'd really let me go. The guys behind him gasped. Sis-in-law. Joke's over. You'd actually leave him? I nodded. Yes. Divorce. The room chilled. Dorian sent Stacy upstairs, then sneered at me. I paid her tuition. What's the big deal if I sleep with her? You'll scream tonight and grovel in 3 days. Pathetic. Run Stacy's bath and I might forgive you. He was right. Those years I really had been pathetic. On our wedding night he dragged a scholarship co-ed home. I was locked outside the bedroom, thunderstruck by their noises. I pounded until my nails cracked, trying to stop them. They only got louder, and Dorian got mad. For 3 days he refused to speak to me. On the 4th I knelt on freezing tile until my knees were blue, begging forgiveness. Year 2. I wouldn't surrender my favorite cake to the girl who loved frosting. Dorian tossed the whole cake into the trash, flew her and his buddies to Paris for 2 weeks of patisserie tours. Year 3. The girl killed my cat. I slapped her. Dorian told her to slap me back, twice, and didn't touch me for 6 months. Every time, his friends filmed my meltdowns, and soon the clips floated around Riverdale. I became the annual laughingstock. 1 year's buzz hadn't cooled before the next arrived. And every year, after my fit, I collapsed and begged him not to ice me out. People joked I was the best trained pet in town. What Dorian didn't know, this time I was really leaving. I looked at him quietly. Someone tried to smooth things over. Bro, the sun's still up. Forget the bath. Let's eat. But the table was bare. Every anniversary Dorian gave Brown the day off and ordered me to cook. Like an idiot, I used to slave over a feast that suited everyone's tastes, then watch them devour it while they trashed me. Now Dorian's face darkened. You won't even cook. What the hell do you want? I repeated, a divorce. Silence, then gales of laughter. Bro, sis-in-law must be running a fever, or playing hard to get for once. For once I didn't defend myself. I simply glanced at them and walked into the study. As I shut the door I heard them taking their leave. My cold certainty stripped the fun from staying. I slid open the drawer. Inside was the divorce agreement Dorian himself drafted. Last year, the girl he brought home wanted my wedding ring. When I refused, she tumbled down the stairs. Furious, Dorian wrote this paper and forced me to sign. I sobbed, surrendered the ring, threw in a pair of diamond earrings, and apologized. After that he filed the document here as a daily warning. Know your place. 3 copies. All signed by him. Splitting the assets generously, certain I'd never dare. $5 million was plenty. I wasn't greedy. I signed my name and dated it. Then my WhatsApp pinged. It was Chase, the swimmer I funded. Thanks for the vacation cash. Sis. 3 roommates and I are soaking in Eastbrook's hot spring resort. Come play? I pictured his six-pack and swimmer's fee. Remembered Dorian's line? I paid her tuition. What's wrong with sleeping with her? And tapped back, I'll be there tomorrow. The door burst open. Stacy marched in wearing my pajamas. Coffee in hand. Serena, why isn't the bath ready? And you still haven't changed the sheets. You know Caldwell dotes on me. Why ruin his mood? I pocketed the phone and studied her. You know he only wants your body to get a return on his donation. However good you are, this love expires overnight. Why degrade yourself? Her face twisted. She flung the coffee at me. Degrade myself. And you're so much nobler. A few years as Caldwell and you forgot where you came from. Weren't you the first scholarship girl Caldwell sponsored? The coffee ran into my mouth. Bitter. Like these 5 married years. Yes, I was Dorian's first project. The year I took the college entrance exam, my family went bankrupt. My parents, cornered, jumped from a building together. The Caldwells were old family friends, so Dorian paid my tuition. Near graduation I attended the Caldwell year-end gala, had a few drinks, and blacked out. I woke up naked in Dorian's arms, just as reporters flooded the suite. Later his first love dumped him and fled the country. His grandfather forced him to marry me. He swore I'd spiked his drink and tipped off the press to trap him. That's why he hates me to the bone, so much that every single wedding anniversary he finds a fresh way to torment me. I grabbed a napkin, mopped up the coffee, sighed, and headed to the bathroom. While the tub filled, I scooped a few cups of toilet water with Stacy's toothbrush cup and dumped them in. I was changing the sheets when Stacy's scream ripped through the bathroom. Dorian barreled in first, then roared for me. Serena, I knew the second you went quiet you were up to something. I arched a brow, assuming he'd figured out the toilet water bath. Instead, he was staring at her sprawled outside the tub. Caldwell, it's so slippery. Someone smeared shower gel on the floor. Dorian tested it with his shoe, then yanked me forward. The marble was an ice rink. I staggered and crashed to my knees, pain flaring bright. He lifted Stacy and strode out, barking over his shoulder. Stay on your knees until we get back. Stacy glanced back, a sly little smirk lighting her face. Dorian added, you'd better pray she's okay, or your spot as Caldwell is finished. The second the car engines faded, I straightened. Both knees were red and swollen, the right one raw and bleeding. I found the first aid kit and patched myself up, then called my lawyer. When he arrived, I handed him the signed divorce papers. I'd barely shut the door when my phone rang. Serena, get to the hospital. Now. What is it this time? He hesitated. Stacy's left ankle is fractured. She's in agony, crying non-stop. Come apologize immediately. Apologize again. In 5 years I've said sorry thousands of times. I'm fresh out. I drawled into the receiver. Why should I apologize? I didn't push her. Dorian hissed. You love these cheap tricks. You think I don't know? Back then, I cut him off. For the last time, I didn't spike that drink. I hung up and buried my face in my arms. I've explained it countless times. He never believes me. Of course not. On paper, I was the only one who gained. So in his eyes, I'm guilty forever. While I sorted my things, Dorian carried Stacy back in. Her left foot was in a cast. He noticed my open suitcase. Serena, what stunt now? Stacy blinked back fake tears and wriggled to get down. Caldwell, let me leave. If I stay, your wife will walk out. He tightened his hold on her. Let her go. She'll beg to come back inside 3 days. But first, apologize to Stacy. My face was blank. I couldn't care less. Sorry, I muttered. Stacy nibbled her lip, then choked out, big sis. That apology has zero sincerity. Where's my gift? She snuck a peek at my hands, so I spread my empty fingers. Don't bother looking. My wedding ring already went to the last scholarship co-ed. Her face paled. She shot Dorian a wounded glance, then dropped her eyes. Sis, you're joking. Who would be shameless enough to ask for a wedding ring? She pointed at my neck. If you mean it, give me that necklace as a keepsake. Around my throat hung a jade safety pendant, Dad's first big paycheck gift to Mom, her favorite piece while she lived. Since she died, I haven't taken it off once. I covered it protectively. Not this. Stacy's eyes dimmed. Dorian's voice turned low. The girl likes it. Hand it over. It's just a piece of jade. I'll buy you another someday. I stared at him. Dorian, do you hear yourself? His eyes darkened. You gave the wedding ring away. What's a chunk of jade? I didn't understand his anger. He'd ordered me to donate the ring. The ring was yours to dispose of. The jade is mine. His breathing roughened. Serena, you're hopeless. He set Stacy down, lunged, and snapped the cord. The pendant landed in his palm. A red welt bloomed across my neck. I yelped at the burn. He flipped the jade to Stacy. She inspected it, nose wrinkling. Ugh. Pretty from far away, ugly up close. Hideous thing suits Caldwell better. I wouldn't dream of stealing it. She tossed it back. I reached too late. Smack. Jade met tile and shattered, ignoring the sting on my neck. So clumsy. She tugged Dorian's sleeve. The necklace broke. No need to beat her until she fractures something. Right. Don't worry. I'm not that petty. Only then did I realize Dorian had planned to break my bones as penance. He rubbed his temples. Serena, the jade had spirit. It shattered to spare you a fracture. A tear slipped free. I whispered, Dorian, you know it was my mother's. Stacy squealed. Gross. Dead people jewelry. She shook her hand as though contaminated. Caldwell, she sleeps with you while wearing a corpse trinket? How unlucky. Beaming, she added, good thing it broke, or it'd ruin your fortune, right? Dorian's face darkened. Her words had gone too far even for him. Still, to needle me. He ruffled her hair. Right. Breathing hurt. I didn't spare him another glance and carried the fragments to the guest room. Minutes later, Stacy tiptoed in. Serena, you said his love for me is disposable, but I'll be here 100 days, he promised. If I get pregnant, you'll be my personal maid through the whole trimester. I sneered, then congratulations in advance. Obnoxious moans soon echoed from the master bedroom. I felt nothing. Once, I'd have split my mind in two, half heartbroken, half dissecting every sound, desperate to copy whatever pleased him. I wore black stockings. He snarled I looked cheap. I mimicked those moans. He clamped a hand on my throat. You sound like someone died. Sexy. Huh. Now I finally grasped the idiom. Love me. Love my dog. He doesn't love me, so everything I do is wrong. Under cover of night, while their performance peaked, I wheeled my suitcase out of the prison I'd called home for 5 years. It was midnight when I reached Eastbrook. I hadn't meant to bother Chase, yet the moment I stepped into the hot spring resort I saw him pacing outside. Late fall, thin fleece hugging his frame, muscles outlined beneath. Were you waiting for me? You said today, but not what time, so I've been here since midnight. I wanted to be the first to see you. I laughed. Ran out of spending money? He pulled me into a hug. No, I missed you. Warm, solid arms. My face burned. Finally, he let go. 5 years. And that was the first time I've seen you smile. Sis, you're stunning when you do. I met Chase the morning after my wedding. After Dorian's mental torture left me hollow, I wandered into a coffee shop, sat by the window crying. He was working the counter. He served me hot milk and stayed until closing. Since then, whenever grief drowned me, I went to him, worried I was wasting his time. I figured any college kid working nights must be broke, so I started sponsoring him. But even though it was sponsorship, he would only accept $1,000 a month. My thoughts were yanked back by a burst of cheering. I looked up. A few yards away stood 3 tall guys, each with a girlfriend on his arm. They had to be the 3 buddies Chase was getting his masters with. One of the girls teased. So Chase wasn't lying. Sis really is young and gorgeous. Until we saw you in person we thought you were some rich cougar looking to bankroll a college boy. I tucked a strand of hair behind my ear, tongue-tied. Chase, why didn't you bring your girlfriend? Everyone cracked up. Guy's too busy for a girlfriend. Main thing is, the girl he likes got married way too young. I gave them a silent question mark face. Chase exhaled, long and slow, looking straight at me. He turned dead serious. Serena, the girl I like is you. They're only 2 years younger than I am, but I'd married the second I finished college. And 5 years of marriage had scraped me down to nothing. I couldn't keep up once they got rowdy, so while we soaked in the hot spring pool, I fell asleep. When I opened my eyes again, I was in Chase's bed. The room smelled of fresh coffee. He was fixing breakfast. On some impulse, I unlocked my phone and opened the home security app. Dorian woke at 6 on the dot. Unlike every other morning, no breakfast smells drifted from the kitchen. No sounds at all. Frowning, he walked into the kitchen. Cold stove, cold pans, no trace of me. From the bedroom came Stacy's voice. Dorian, is breakfast ready? Serena promised she'd make me pan-fried buns first thing. After just one night she already dared to call him by name, to his face, and had stopped calling me Caldwell. Yet that sweet, coquettish tone only made Dorian look annoyed. He strode to the living room. On the coffee table lay several sheets of paper, the divorce papers I'd left him. Both names were signed. Yesterday's date. Dorian's brows snapped together. I wrote this last year. She didn't tear it up. She actually signed it. He flung the papers back onto the dresser. Serena, your jealousy act is getting old. He picked up his phone, clearly dialing me. I'd already blacklisted him. Fine, play that game. Don't come crying later. He paced the room. Stacy called again. Dorian, I'm hungry. He marched to the master bedroom, scowling. Then order your own takeout. Stacy was stunned. Serena didn't make the buns. Where's her apology effort? She's my wife. Who do you think you are? Barking her name and ordering her to cook? And remember your place. Call me Caldwell, or get out of this house. Watching the feed, I burst out laughing. 5 years of marriage, and this was the first time he'd admitted I was his wife. Dorian's temper is scary. Stacy shrieked apologies and sobbed. Ignoring her, he called the housekeeper back. Brown didn't bat an eye at Stacy's presence. Dorian told her to move Stacy to the smallest guest room. When breakfast was ready, Brown asked, "Sir, where's Caldwell?" Dorian's face was icy. Her jade pendant broke. She threw a fit and left. Brown gasped. The pendant broke. Lord, that was her only keepsake. Dorian frowned. What are you talking about? Brown sighed. When the Vance family went bankrupt, everything was seized. Her mother knelt and begged them to let her keep that one jade safety pendant for her daughter. My eyes stung. Even the housekeeper remembered. Yet my husband had no clue. Dorian's spoon clattered to the table. Yes, how could he forget? Serena had been 18, clutching that pendant, crying until you ached to watch. He'd sworn he'd pay for her college, take care of her forever, but every storm in her life now seemed to come from him. The phone rang. Dorian's face brightened. Must be Serena. After every tantrum she begs forgiveness. Pain in the neck. But the screen showed an unknown number. He answered. A man's voice came through. Caldwell, I'm Serena's attorney. Vance asked me to file your divorce papers at City Hall. I'm calling to remind you. After the 30-day cooling-off period, you may pick up the final decree. I was so transfixed I didn't notice Chase beside me. Jealously, he covered my phone with his palm. Papers are signed. Why still watch him? I flinched. How did you know I signed? You told me last night, after the wine. I paused, then deleted the security app. Chase smiled and handed me buttered toast. Sis, good riddance. From now on I support you. I stared, dazed. His face turned grave. Then he rattled off the whole story. Bottom line, he is the only son of Sterling. The family Dorian wines and dines every New Year. Begging for investment. Truth is, Dorian's no businessman. Caldwell's basically a shell. Dad would never throw money at him. My eyes popped. But the settlement says he'll pay me $50 million. He can't even scrape that up. Chase forked a fried egg into my mouth. He could. But after that he'd be broke. I patted my chest to steady myself. Chase kissed me. 30 days. I'll go with you to pick up the decree. Ever since Serena walked out, Dorian felt cursed. He'd bump into walls, stub toes, zone out mid-stride. Even his deals started unraveling. Today he heard Sterling was scouting Eastbrook for flagship stores. Panic hit. No wonder they kept refusing me. They want the same turf. But tantrums were useless. To Caldwell, Sterling was a mountain on another planet. Now that the mountain was moving in, bankruptcy was only a matter of time. In the middle of that headache, the lawyer rang again. Tomorrow 8 a.m. City Hall. Pick up the divorce decree. Dorian hurled the phone. 30 days. He'd called Serena countless times, still unreachable. Every trick to trace her had failed. Yanking off his tie, he texted his crew. 8 a.m. City Hall. Be there. He was certain Serena wouldn't show. Just another tantrum, but this one had gone too far. So he'd teach her a lesson. He'd make her kneel in front of everyone and beg. Harsh, maybe, but she deserved it. I sat in the car, watching Dorian step out. He glanced around, didn't head inside. Lit a cigarette instead. Before he finished it, a dozen cars pulled up. His pals climbed out, phones raised, some with pro cameras. Where's the missus? She wouldn't dare. She knows the second she shows. Dorian will nod and it's over. Place your bets. How does she grovel today? Kneel, wrist slash, or rooftop leap? They laughed like jackals. Dorian smirked. I clutched my skirt, trembling. Chase hugged me. I'm right here, outside. Dorian checked his watch and told his assistant, call her lawyer. I'm giving her half an hour. Suddenly, he looked around. Why so many reporters? Your idea. They shrugged. Wasn't us. Just then a door on the opposite limo swung open. Every head swung too. His buddies whispered furiously. Whoa, Bugatti Veyron. And those plates? Capital City. Which trust fund prince is marrying local royalty and registering here? Before they finished, Chase stepped out. Dorian's eyes narrowed. The Sterling heir? What's he doing here? Puzzled or not, he still hurried forward. Chase. Chase gave him a cold once-over. And you are? Dorian looked slightly embarrassed. You probably don't know me, but your father and I move in the same circles. I'm Dorian. Oh. Chase answered flatly. Dad's never mentioned you. Dorian's face went ashen, yet he kept his fawning smile. May I ask what brings you to City City Hall? Divorce. Dorian choked. The next second Chase opened the passenger door. Dorian froze when he saw the woman step out. How are the two of you together? I swept a glance over Dorian. Time's up. Let's go inside. All of his buddies were still holding their phones up to record, but their eyes were already popping. Is that Serena? When did she get this gorgeous? Those jewels. At least 20 million. Why is she climbing out of a Bugatti? A flash of awe crossed Dorian's eyes. Then his whole face soured. Serena, you sure know how to vanish. Impressive. So a scholarship girl shows up at the house and you storm out? For old time's sake. Apologize and I'll forgive you. I curved my lips. The divorce papers are signed. Caldwell, having second thoughts. Or maybe you can't scrape together the 50 million settlement? Dorian lives for face. I'd stabbed his soft spot. He sneered. 50 million is pocket change. Serena, think hard. Once you walk through that door you're no longer Caldwell. I nodded. I'm aware. Then I stepped into City Hall first. Someone whispered in Dorian's ear, "Bro, the missus looks dead serious this time." Dorian forced bravado. It's an act. The second I walk in she'll beg. Let her play. The bigger the stunt, the harder the backlash. When she comes home I'll lock her in her room, nowhere else. She's out of control. Dorian inches forward at a snail's pace. I suddenly looked back. He smirked. Regrets already. Apologize now. Beg me. And it's not too late. I frowned. Hurry up. Why so slow? Dorian stood rooted. He glanced at Chase. As if a light had switched on. He pointed at me. Serena, you're divorcing me because of him? Chase slid off his sunglasses. Caldwell, you know exactly what you did to Serena. The divorce papers are signed. Now you want to renege? Dorian clenched his teeth. Yes, I'm backing out. There's a 30-day cooling off period. I'm not letting you two win. No divorce? Problem? I was shaking with rage. Dorian, you're despicable. Chase patted my back to calm me. Then he handed Dorian a phone. Here's a collection of clips your crowd has been passing around for years. Clear proof you cheated during the marriage. Also, he waived several contracts. These are Sterling's retail site options for the city. We haven't decided whether to move in. Dorian went white. Sterling, fighting dirty? Chase smiled. What else? In the end Dorian signed. Outside, certificate in hand. He warned Chase, keep your word, stay out of our city's market. Chase snapped his fingers. Truth is, we don't even want the scraps. Then he slipped a huge blue diamond ring onto my finger. Serena, marry me. Dorian was too furious to leave. I nodded, accepting. He kissed me hard. No time like the present. Let's get our license. Just then a car screeched up. Stacy jumped out. She gave me a scornful look, then looped her arm through Dorian's. Caldwell, let's go file 2. Dorian stared at her like she was insane. When did I ever say I'd marry you? You're just a charity case. One cheap girl among dozens. Get over yourself. Stacy's eyes reddened. But I'm pregnant. Dorian blinked. Impossible. We barely slept together and we used protection. How? No method is 100%. She grabbed his arm. I'm carrying your baby. You can't abandon us. Furious, Dorian shoved her off. Stacy hit the ground. Seconds later blood soaked her jeans. Reporters swarmed. Under the flashes Dorian looked terrified. His polished image shredded. I glanced back. Chase, you called the press, didn't you? Chase couldn't tear his eyes from our fresh marriage certificate. Wife knows best. When we came out Dorian was still hemmed in by cameras. Chase pushed through. Tossed him a flash drive. Wedding gift from me. Enjoy your divorce. Inside, evidence that Dorian's white moonlight had been cheating on him with a foreign trust fund guy the whole time. She'd hunted for a graceful exit. Then I appeared. At the Caldwell year-end gala she spiked our drinks, shoved us into a hotel room, and tipped off the paparazzi. Once the scandal broke, she flew overseas playing the heartbroken victim, and dumped the blame square on me. Evening. An unknown number rang. Dorian had watched the drive and phoned the woman to confirm everything. Serena, I wronged you. I hurt you for years. Come back. Let me make it up to you. Little by little. Your jade pendant. I'll source identical jade and remake it. I cut him off. Caldwell, even a perfect replica won't be the one my mother left me. Stop asking me to come back. I'm already married. I don't believe you, he roared. You loved me. How could you marry someone else? It's just anger talking, right? I laughed despite myself. We already picked up our license. If you need proof, I'll mail you an invitation to the ceremony next month. No, you're lying. You're still mad. He kept rambling. It's about Stacy, isn't it? I checked. She smeared that shower gel herself. No fracture either. She bribed the doctor for a fake report. See, when he cares to look. The truth is easy. But he never bothered to give me an answer before. And the baby's gone. I'll pay her off. She'll never bother bother us again, sweetheart. If that's not enough, I'll make her apologize to you, okay? I sighed. Caldwell, I'm Chase's wife now. Keep calling me sweetheart and my husband will be unhappy. I hung up and powered off. So noisy. Chase pulled me close. Jealous. From now on, no answering his calls. I hesitated. Chase, I think he's losing it. Chase chuckled. Whole internet's roasting him, philanthropist who cheated. Flaunted scholarship co-ed to torment his wife. Crowd smashed every Caldwell boutique. The damage is massive. Even without that, he's finished. I promised not to move Sterling in, but with his name in the gutter. Pool shop there. I shuddered. Good thing I collected my $50 million today. Chase grinned. That into money? Absolutely. Before my family's bankruptcy, I never counted dollars. Once the money and my parents vanished and I became charity case scholarship girl. Cash became an obsession. Chase tugged me under the quilt. Then your bride price, 15% of Sterling shares. Okay? 15%. I ran out of fingers counting. He yanked me close. Wife, give me a baby and I'll toss in another 10. Spring filled the room. Money and love arrived late, but right on time. Slow burn forever. Not disposable. For me, that's enough.